Welcome to the Australian Championship.
And Bruno has arrived.
This rivalry earns as
Angwick has won it for South Melbourne.
a West Sarpia legend.
The penultimate week of the Australian Championship is upon us, and with it, the most super Saturday yet on SBS. Semi-final day in the country's newest competition, and it starts in Sydney's West. At Marconi Stadium, one of the game's most historic homes, the competition's first finalist is going to be decided. Marconi Stallions or Moreton City Excelsior, a storied NSL giant against an emergent power, meeting at the intersection of football's new era. They are two sides with such different stories, and they face off for the first time with one goal in mind, a shot at silverware in the grand final on December 6th. They have overcome great obstacles to get to this point. For the Stallions, it'd be a chance for a first national title in 32 years. So much to play for, so much to take in. Let's go sideline to take in the atmosphere with Adrian Archuli.
Well, it is absolutely a buzz here at the Palace for the first semi-final between Marconi and Moreton City, and everyone is in attendance today. We've even got the Socceroos coach, Tony Popovic, here just behind us here, ready for the game. We've got a sea of Marconi blue here to my left, and to our right, a strong contingent of Moreton City supporters who have made the trip down from Queensland. Now, as always, scan that QR code and let us know, who do you think is going to win this clash? Is it the Queensland Premiers, or is it these cardiac kids, Marconi, who, after just scraping through against the Wolves and then last week on penalties, can they make it to the final? Well, we're about to find out. Remember, scan that QR code.
We're joined by Australian football royalty in the house tonight in Tony Popovic as the two teams make their way out onto the resplendent surface at Marconi Stadium. As mentioned, the four-time NSL champions Marconi Stallions, they have been there and done it before when it comes to winning national titles. And after last week's penalty shootout epic against Apia, they'll be believing that anything is possible. And that'll be a belief shared by their opponents, Queensland's Moreton City Excelsior. They have been the championship's chief showman so far, and they have bucked the non-believers on the route to the semis with a boatload of goals along the journey. They did upset Avondale in style last week, and they will have the support of the entire Sunshine State behind them as they set out to topple another tournament favourite today. And after everything they've shown us so far, who would doubt them? So here's the lineup for the Marconi Stallions. And after last week's extra time thriller, there are two changes. The first, enforced by suspension, Franco Maya is ruled out after his extra time red card, and Tasmura Kudus succumbs to a hamstring injury. Replacing them, Lockie Griffiths in centre of defence, and the Stallions super sub, Mate Busek, who scored the opener off the bench last week. Just the solitary change for Cam Miller, but it is a colossal one. Captain Declan Smith's first half injury last week has confirmed to be a dreaded ACL rupture. Moreton's sixth this year. It's a like-for-like swap in defence. Jack McAnally comes in, but the continued absence of the likes of Takagishi, Scott, Pengelly, Courtney Perkins and the skipper means it is a very youthful reserve for Excelsior this afternoon. And before kick-off, we've got a chance to chat with the coaches. They caught up earlier with Adrian Archuli.
Yeah, a lot of drama last week, obviously, and that's why we do it. You know, we love the drama as much as we hate to admit it. But yeah, the journey's been really good. We've had some really strong performances, bar one, that everyone wants to talk about. But we showed what we're all about last week. A real tough game with Apia, and we got through that, and we're here and looking forward to it.
No, absolutely not. Obviously, we didn't even know the Australian Championship was going to run at that point. Once it became known that it was going to happen, it was certainly a plan of ours to be here today. So we're glad we are, and we want to be there next week as well.
Queenslander Declan Woods has refereed more games than any official in the Australian Championship. He's joined today by assistants James Sherry and Jackson Landy, while in charge of football video support today, 4th and 5th officials Sam Kelly and Thomas Mace. So much pressure, so much intrigue around Moreton City Excelsior today. They've had to overcome so many hurdles to get to this point. A raft of first team injuries, losses to so many first 11 stars. There's a tall test before them today in the form of a magnificent Marconi side who overcame their own odds last week against the much favoured West Zapia, their Italian rivals. Hard to believe that this team, 90 minutes from a potential championship final, were a goal away from being knocked out this time a fortnight ago. Fascinating to see where this fixture is going to head. You imagine that man James Hilton will have a large say, and watching over it all is the man who's stepped out in a nice collared shirt and some sunglasses there, Tony Popovich, the head coach of the Socceroos. Maybe looking for a shock selection in his World Cup squad out there today, who knows. Fans up and about in the stands. A good crowd has brewed here, staying out of the 32-degree sun at Marconi Stadium. You can see the jerseys billowing against the bodies of these players. Interesting conditions today. And so it is Peter Sekenis' stolid Stallions against Cam Miller's Excelsior Entertainers for the first spots in the championship final. Great to have your company for it wherever you're tuning in from on SBS and SBS On Demand for the big one. Lockie Flanagan in the commentary booth alongside a man who is no stranger to, well, either the commentary booth but either of these two teams in David Perkovich.
Good afternoon. What an exciting game we've got here. Two contrasting teams in terms of style of play against each other. And what a fantastic day. Outside of the wind, it's nice and sunny, and a really good turnout of crowd too. So really looking forward to this one, and we've got a corner to straight up.
Well, they have delivered some fantastic atmospheres and turnouts in their 3 home games in the championship. Have Marconi, must be mentioned the decent travelling contingent of Moreton City supporters today. The rest of them watching at their home ground at Walter Park. So a big hello to all of those who are at the Queensland Club's watch party. Expectant eyes over this upcoming set piece. In it bends, it's over all the heads. And not able to be kept alive by Luka Jankovic, who continues to deputise in that striking position in the absence of the likes of Andy Pengelly and Joe Scott, and they have had to really deal with tremendous and unfortunate list of injuries in this competition, Perko, and yet they have gotten themselves to this point and in style.
It's been an unbelievable campaign from Moreton Bay. I imagine that this game is going to take a few minutes to settle as they get used to this very forceful winds that we've got here today.
And here come the Stallions through Marko Jesic. Slides it across for William Akio. Back into the middle, and Jesic couldn't retrieve the return ball.
Nice little counter-attack there by Marconi to start things off. Moreton Bay would definitely want to get the ball on the ground, do what they do best, work the ball through the thirds. Marconi will be looking to pick them off and fire on those counter-attacks as they do so well.
Tom Lenaric back to, well, he was the man of the moment last week, James Hilton. 3 penalty saves in a 20 penalty shootout, which included his winner as the goalkeeper. That was, we've had a lot of good Derby d'Italias over the years in Sydney, Perko. That was right up there with one of the best.
Well, it was a cracking game. Anyone watching that game would have been glued either in the stands or on their TV screens watching. It was a fantastic occasion and a fantastic performance from both teams, and especially both goalkeepers.
It's an easy collect for a man who will be a familiar face today for some of a Marconi persuasion. Moreton City's goalkeeper, Nathan Foster. She did spend his 2023 footballing season here in Bosley Park. Back then he was battling with James Hilton for the starting spot in the under-20s of the Stallions. How far both of those keepers have come since.
Last time Marconi came up against this formation was in the NPL against Spirit. So they are familiar against this type of football team.
It's a fluid three at the back, and dare I ask, who was in charge of that last team to play a three at the back at Marconi? Well, it was David Perkovich.
Not sure.
5-0 win for the Spirit. Here comes Murphy down the right for Moreton City. The cut back into a central area for Lockie Sayers. There's nothing doing. And Jesic able to retrieve possession, but it's a bit of a rare, careless turnover from the Stallions super veteran. 37 years of age and still going strong for his boyhood club, making Marconi appearance number 289 today.
Still got a strong breeze here favouring Moreton Bay in this first half.
Murphy drives the ball in. Van der Sarg had some contact over the top. And no whistle from Declan Woods. Sayers wearing the captain's armband today and giving one for Kojima to chase, but that's going to be marshalled all the way out of play by the man who's come into the heart of defence today in Lockie Griffiths. Speaks to the contrast of depth that these two sides have available today. Perko, it's a teenager field bench for Moreton, but for Marconi, they have the ability today in reserve to call on one of the best centre-backs in New South Wales, a man who's made the league's team of the year in NPL competition in years gone by.
Definitely a healthy bench for Marconi, even though they're missing one or two of themselves.
First season at the club from Rockdale.
As I expected, both teams trying to settle into the game. A big occasion. Obviously the conditions having an impact here. But the famous long throw from Jesic about to come in now.
Can the captain produce something early doors? It is a decent launch in the wind. Harry van der Sarg was there. And Kojima able to pick up the pieces. Kojima part of this devastating Japanese duo that Cam Miller has got at his disposal. Lovely play down the right. Bayless's early ball turned out for a Marconi corner, their first of the afternoon.
Nice little combination play there from Marconi down the right flank, earning themselves a corner. And Marconi traditionally have a very, very good set-piece team off corners. One in particularly to watch out for Jesic and how he tries to block the keeper. He usually makes a late run there, but it looks like Milanaric is on the keeper now. They're surrounding him, so putting a lot of pressure on Moreton Bay's number one.
Lots for Declan Woods and the football video support system to keep their eyes in as Bayless drives the ball in. It comes off a Moreton City body. A few questions of a handball. Second crack for Bayless. Fires it low. Foster is able to gather.
Full press coming from Marconi here. Looks like it's swirling a bit because I thought it was favouring Moreton Bay, but that high ball just held up in the air a bit, so could be swelling down there.
That has pivoted a little bit over the course of the afternoon, blowing mostly across the field at the present moment rather than favouring any particular goal, as this will not be a site that Cam Miller wants to see. Another player down on the deck, Trent Millard, who has had to begin to start in the centre of defence in recent weeks. Down on the deck, looks to be right to continue for now.
It's Moreton Bay with that back three with two very aggressive wingers, playing a double pivot with the Murai and Saita playing in the pocket behind a solitary striker. So they're trying to just overload the Marconi midfield, try to work the ball through the thirds. And as we can see here, Marconi being very aggressive defensively.
Well intercepted that one by Bayliss. Here is the Canadian William Accio. He's been one of the most intriguing signings of the Australian Championship. Coming across from Tigers in the Capital NPL, where he won the title there, scored a boatload of goals, and he's played it in a nice release for George Daniel. And now Marconi are on the move, and it's a good save from Foster to deny the Stallions fullback.
Yeah, good goalkeeping there from Foster, pushing the ball away from the traffic. Looked like it was offside, a late call from the assistant referee.
I guess now that we do have the football video support system in place, of course, if you missed it last week, that is an offside that goes against the Stallions. It's a modified version of video assistant review with a sort of coach's challenge system. Each team can make 2 unsuccessful challenges. They have 2 cards to submit to the 4th official. If they are successful in their challenge, they retain them, and if we go to extra time, they'll get an extra challenge too. But as a result of that, every single goal is automatically checked by FVS. So I wonder if that's why the assistant referees are just keeping their flags down on those sort of calls.
Absolutely.
Kennis playing it into space for the pace of Mate Busek. We're able to latch onto it that time. It's driven away by Dylan Manecki.
Moreton Bay really struggling to get out of their half in the last 5 minutes or so. Marconi putting the stranglehold on them.
It's not that it's ever unimportant, but the first goal of this game is such an essential one. Excelsior are great at comebacks, not so good at defending them necessarily, but we know how solid the Stallions can be when they have a lead to defend, Perko.
Yeah, that was an excellent trigger press there from Moreton Bay, catching Milinaric, dawdling on the ball a little bit too long there, almost snatching something.
Cheeky little nutmeg from Tyron Burney, and now one to chase for Sekenis, and chase it he does. All legal. Is there a cutback on? It's Accio! It's wide. And that is a far greater chance than perhaps the body language of those out there on the field suggests.
Yeah, Accio not getting that ball on target after Sekenis making that run in behind. Does really well there to get to the ball first and put a very good ball into the box.
It's a poor pass from Foster. Bayliss bends the ball. Will Yesic be able to gather? No, it's good defensive work that time by Jack McAnally. Great to see that, in keeping with the hot conditions in Bosley Park today, there's early evidence, Perko, of a bit of fire out there on the field as well between these two teams.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake. An inaugural spot in the Australian Championship final. So, no doubt all the players on the field would want to take part in that. So, got to beat the team that's in front of them.
Incredible press from Marconi. Sekenis just past the reach of the Stallion striker. Hoping today that he can break what's been a bit of a dry run in front of goals. Yet to score since his hat-trick in match day 2 against South Hobart. 9 of his 11 goals in all competitions this year have come at home. Burney goes short for Yesic. Nice little exchange of pass between those two. Kojima comes in to break it up, but only momentarily. Back to Mlinaric.
Really liking Marconi's energy into this game so far. Really trying to suffocate Moreton Bay. Moreton Bay hasn't really got out of their own half for the last 5-7 minutes or so with controlled possession as they would like to. Their build-up variations is being picked off by Marconi so far.
It's a bit of an interesting contrast, really, because over the course of this tournament, we've gotten so used to seeing Moreton City being a team who like to aggressively press, and the Stallions, generally speaking, particularly after they get leads in games, tend to be a little bit more patient. But it's almost been the opposite that's unfolded. The Stallions have really crashed out of the blocks with quite an energetic high press, and it's working so far.
Yeah, the key has been the stoppages. So there's been a lot of goal kicks so far, a lot of throw-ins and starting from set plays, and that allows Marconi to set up really well and be very aggressive from those moments. If Moreton Bay can get 5-6 passes, consecutive passes, uninterrupted passes, that's when you'll probably start finding Marconi sitting in their block a little bit deeper and then picking their moments to when to press.
Daniel Jesic couldn't slip it to Akio. Now it's Sekenis with sights of goal and just whistles past without any danger to the net of Nathan Foster.
Marconi very aggressive with first and second balls. The key part to this, when you're on top of the opposition, you've got to make sure you hurt them. Because you can never think that you're going to dominate for 90 minutes unless you start hurting the team on the scoreboard.
Just as quickly as Moreton City find their way onto possession, the Stallions are able to win it back. Great work from Mate Busek. Jesic couldn't exact the quick exchange of pass.
Just a few unforced errors from Moreton Bay. Obviously, visiting team, a little bit of nerves potentially.
Akio
Settling into the conditions and the venue. They also obviously had a interrupted week as well with the storms in Queensland.
Yeah, they were only able to put together one contact session this week owing to the deluge in the Sunshine State, putting their training facilities out of action. They trained here at Marconi last night, but there were no nets and no pitch markings. Here comes Akio. Now Van der Sark. He can hit them, nearly tried to.
Very good tackle there.
And now Excelsior looking to counter through Kojima. Murai in support. Kojima might fancy his chances of going it alone, but in the end, Bayless and Mlinaric are able to conspire to close their ranks.
Kojima just not making the most of that 1v1 moment. He had Murai in support, couldn't find him, but a lot more encouragement there for Moreton Bay fans.
Mlinaric setting a task for Sekenis. He was able to battle with his marker in McAnally and win out. Sekenis still going. The angle too tight for a shot, so retreating to Van der Sark, who goes looking for Akio, and Foster in the end can comfortably collect, and we can get a chance to take the temperature and well, the wind as well, from our sideline reporter Adrian Archuli.
Yeah, lads, not a weatherman, but just an update on that front. Yeah, it was a strong southerly to start. Now it's just swirling around, so like Perko's alluded to, it's been holding up, and it's even coming in my face. Lucky I got no hair because it would have been blown off by now. But both teams sort of doing quite well despite the conditions, and It's quite fitting we have Tony Popovich in the house today because both teams have set up just like he likes to with the sort of the three at the back and two wing backs. And yeah, really even at the moment, got a good active supporter base right behind us here for Marconi. So the vibes are good. I think there's probably about 2,000 in the house. Conditions, it's not too warm, but it's the breeze is keeping it cool. But really set up for a cracker here today. It's I think we're going to have plenty of drama late in this one because that's how Moreton City have done it so far in this tournament, and so too Marconi. So I really think it's anyone's game at the moment. But let's just see how this win goes as well, because one thing about Marconi, they don't like to win too much. If anything, that Wollongong game in the last round of the group stage was anything to go by.
Yeah, certainly still up for grabs this one. Thanks, Adrian. And you're not wrong. Moreton City know one thing in this competition, and that is box office entertainment for the neutrals. It's in 32 goals in their games so far, of which 18 have been scored by them, only Heidelberg more. Marconi have been a little bit tighter, but what they have lacked in drama in the opening few rounds, they made up for with a 5-0 loss to Wollongong that nearly knocked them out, and last week's extra time and penalties thriller against West Apia. So two teams with a flair for the dramatic, still searching for the opener in the first Australian Championship semi-final. And it's Bernie busting forward, lifting the ball into the box, and it's headed out of play off a Moreton City Excelsior defender at the expense of a Stallions corner.
Dominance from the Stallions continuing here, getting some good penetration out the wide areas and good quality balls into the box, which is producing these set pieces for them. Key thing for Moreton City here is those wing backs, when you're playing with a back five, they really need to get out to those wide players before the delivery comes in to put pressure on that ball.
So can Bellis, the corner taker, get the eye in this time? Not quite is the answer, if at all. It is look, it's not an enviable position to be in, Perko. The corner taker on that side when the wind is blowing into your face, it's not an easy one to get the eye in for.
Yeah, it's not difficult. Technically, you try to hit it nice low flat deliveries when the ball's coming into you, so it has best success of getting it to where you want to with some sort of pace.
Well judged that one by Mlinaric. Of course, the other part of that is that their usual corner taker, their first choice, Franco Mayer, not playing today. What sort of difference does not having him in this side make to Marconi this afternoon?
Yeah, Franco Mayer's had a very, very good season. He probably didn't have the game that he wanted to have last week, but no doubt Marconi's a better side when he's in it. But obviously Busek coming in for Meyer, came off the bench and done wonders last week, so he deserves his opportunity.
Certainly he's deserving of the opportunity as the 21-year-old, formerly of the Mariners, scored off the bench about a minute and a half after coming on against Apia. It's the fourth goal of 6 that he scored from the Pine this season. And he's able to win that in the air, Mate Busek, but couldn't do much more with it.
Yeah, high balls for both teams is very, very difficult under the conditions.
Some very hearty and specific boos for Trent Millard. I'm not... What exact reason? Your guess is as good as mine. He's a former Central Coast Mariner. I don't think he ever played in NPL New South Wales though, so I doubt there's a familiarity in that sense, but...
Just sensing a little change in the game here. Moreton Bay's starting to get a little bit more time on the ball. The game's starting to settle a little bit. Maybe Marconi's press, they're just backing off a little bit because you can't press that aggressively for 90 minutes. You've got to kind of pick and choose your times.
This injury incident for Jack McAnally is going to bring about the first drinks break of the afternoon. There's the challenge that forced McAnally to the turf. A chance for both of these sides to reset. And while these Marconi players, Moreton players, get a break from the sun over at Walter Park, they are nicely undercover and watching on. How good is this? A live feed into the watch along. Give us a wave, Walter Park. Come on. Great to see this club being supported from all venues, all angles. Really is a competition that has united the entirety of the country around semi-professional football. They'll be a little nervous there as they await what could be, Perko, remarkably, a fourth grand final appearance in the space of 3 seasons under Cam Miller, the youngest coach in the championship, 31 years of age. Has taken them to the big dance in the NPL every single year. This would maybe be the best achievement of the lot for a really talented coach.
Absolutely. Very impressed with how he's conducted his team throughout this Australian Championship, and deservedly so, being in the semi-final and having the right to play for a final finish.
Very firm challenge in the centre circle. Trent Millard has borne the brunt of it. Declan Woods has awarded the free kick in Excelsior's favour. These ones do not tickle. Mate Busek, when you lift your leg off the ground like that trying to get a loose one, you're always courting a bit of a risk.
I think what saved him there, his eyes was always on the ball. There's no real intent. He didn't really see the opposition, but it's always a risk when you're, like you said, raising your leg. But if we analyse the first 25 minutes of the game, a good fair chunk of that has been the way Peter Sekenis would have wanted it to happen. Aggressive pressing from Marconi, controlling the game, controlling territory. In the last 5 minutes or so, it's just kind of Moreton City's coming back into it now.
So that ball is going to be gathered by Hilton. You just saw the win poll there. I think the Walter Park watch party have seized upon that. Excelsior 57% favourites. As Sekenis drives to the byline and is snuffed out.
Really impressed with the recovery runs from Moreton City there. Getting numbers back early, flooding the box, making it really difficult for Sekenis to find a free man in the box to deliver the ball into.
Now Bernie has been given plenty of licence as the Stallions' ever-present fullback. Again, Excelsior with the numbers in defensive coverage. And Murphy launches up the line and just runs out of room before Keitatsu Kojima can latch on. Haven't seen too much as yet of Excelsior's 2 Japanese stars. The great nation of Japan has added a lot to the Australian Championship. 12 Japanese players have featured in the competition so far. We make it a 13th today. Tomohiro Agawa is on the bench for a potential debut for the Stallions this afternoon. From those 12 Japanese players, they have provided 13 goals. They've been outsized in their influence on this competition. And Murai and Kojima in particular have been excellent, Perko.
Yeah, just saw a little glimpse of what Murai could do. We're putting that penetration pass in for the striker. It was just a little bit too heavy. But if he can get on the ball in those final third, facing forward in those little pockets of space, and he is definitely one Marconi will be very, very worried about.
There's the free kick. That's an open and shut case against Marko Jesic. He's a wily veteran, but you don't get away with those. Oh, that's really clever from Busek. Good recovery from Trent Millard. That's better movement from Moreton City. Yankovic just unfortunately doing the defending for the Stallions that time. Starting to get more glimpses though of their ability to move the football when the space arrives. Lovely lift from Van der Sarg. Busek receiving from Marko Jesic. He's not got much in the way of support, so back he heads for Tyron Burney. Bayless, the Stallions building. And lifted in the direction of William Accio. Tried for the nutmeg. He went for it, didn't work out, but he will take a Stallions corner as we head towards half an hour of football played in Bosley Park.
Nutmeg didn't work, but second best result, which is another corner. It's building up the corners now for Marconi. They're getting plenty of practice on these now.
And Accio's left side corners have been good. This one is two. It was Griffiths at the front post who glances on, but glances off target.
You definitely want corners to be on the stadium side as the wind is coming across the field from the stadium to commentary area. So the ball can carry a little bit easier and help with that drift. Very good build up there by Moreton City.
Kojima looks to be in an offside position, and this time there is no delay on the raising of the flag against Keitatsu Kojima.
Just got on the wrong side of Griffiths there. He was blind for his run with no defenders in front in his line of sight. He needed to be in behind Griffiths so he can guide him on where his line is to be offside, and then he can curve his run to get that ball in behind. But Griffiths done well to get on his opposite side, so he's making that run blind.
Seita Murai may have grabbed the majority of the headlines, but Keitatsu Kojima has been no slouch himself. He's played in a variety of positions, pushed further forward today, but has been as deep as left back. Wherever you place him, Cam Miller seems to get goals out of him. 7 in all competitions, including a brace last week against Avondale. Jesic and Maneki battle. Which way is this going? In the Stallions' favour for a throw. And just quickly on Kojima, what's even more impressive about his performances, Cam Miller told me he's played the entire Australian Championship with a dislocated shoulder, which has popped out twice during the tournament.
It's amazing. Looking for another Jesic long throw.
This is an Excelsior side who have pushed themselves to their limits, continually reach new heights. Marconi launching their latest test through Jesic. Nodded down to the top of the penalty area. Daniel lost his footing, and Mlinaric gets in the way. It's a heavy touch from Burney. He's a fast customer and can only keep it alive momentarily. 44th game of the season this year for Marconi. Tyron Burney has missed just the one, and he's played every minute of the games that he has played. It's been a remarkable marathon effort from all of these teams who have gone deep in the championship. It's not every year that NPL teams are playing routinely 40 plus games, but every side in the semi-final has done at least that this year.
More games, more opportunity to develop, and more opportunity to be seen for a lot of these players who want to make the jump.
Well, for a player who fell down, Milhard did wonderful to find the pass for Keitatsu Kojima. Well won back by Griffiths. And Murai. They've clearly done their homework on Seita Murai, because every time one man gets beaten, there's always a second man in reserve. Here's another player who's a handful. Will Accio cuts back onto the right. Swings the ball in. Busek rises. The bounce into the turf takes any sting out of it. Not that he got the best purchase on that one, Mate Busek, but that is something that Peter Sekenis will want to see more of. Those wingers linking up, attackers getting into goal-scoring positions to meet crosses.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of success in those wide areas. They want to get those wingers in behind those, initially those wing backs, and then that would force one of the back three to come across, and that will mean less players defending in the box. And then Marconi floods the box with Jesic, Sekenes and Busek on an Akio, depending which side the ball's coming from, and potentially even a midfielder in Van der Sag or Bayless. So they want to get those balls into the box, get numbers in there. And given the conditions, it's hard to judge attackingly, but even more so hard to judge defensively, and more likely of a mistake happening in those situations. So Marconi will be definitely happy with that. Moreton City will be happy that they're getting a little bit more control into this game, a little bit more possession. I'm sure they would like a little bit more sustained possession before their attacks, being able to build up through the thirds, get numbers in and around the box, find those players in those pockets, and occasionally getting those counter attacks that we've seen so far.
Spare a thought for Cam Miller's heart rate, because as if he didn't have enough issues, injuries to deal with. This is the 4th time now Damon Anderson is the latest player to hit the turf with a suspected injury. He's going to come off the field of play. Doesn't look as though he will be substituted here necessarily.
Just goes to show how aggressive Marconi's been in this opening half so far. Want to impose themselves physically on the game.
Not a player nor an area of the pitch they would want to lose someone. Damon Anderson, great assist last week in his 2nd consecutive starts for Seita Morai's first of 2 goals. Kajima getting fouled there. Moreton City getting an opportunity to play against a set defence of Marconi in their own half. Let's see if they can sustain a bit of possession and get these players into these pockets. And a lovely turn there. Brilliant turn. It's Jankovic who moves forward. Murphy across, drives the ball in. Bernie blocks. Corner coming for Moreton City. And that's more like it for the side from the Sunshine State.
Very, very good turn there by Jankovic, which created that attack. And obviously setting up this corner for them now. They've only had not many in this game so far, so they get another practice run at it. Again, the wind making it really difficult to judge for both the attack and defence, but I know definitely would rather be attacking this moment rather than defending it, considering these conditions, because the wind can change the direction of the ball and then you're worrying about handball. And
in it comes. It's a big, high, ugly up and under, and well, maybe James Bayless is feeling a little bit better that his previous corner on that side didn't pass muster, because that shows you just how difficult it is for any of the corner takers on that side of the ground this afternoon.
Like I said, you need to try and aim to hit that flat so it has less impact from the wind across the 6-yard box. And given the conditions, it's going to be unlikely that the keepers will come for him today. Well, they have to be very brave anyway to do so.
Yeah, even though it was well out, you could see Hilton was looking at it awkwardly. This little clip of Busek battles with Murphy again, and it is James Murphy who wins out once more. That's been an intriguing battle so far between the 20-year-old fullback and the 21-year-old Stallions flyer.
Even more so when Bernier joins the attack on that side when he overlaps Busek, giving Moreton City a few problems down this right side. There, Moreton City's left, but Bayless gets another practice at the side that you don't want to take the corner from.
Well, the corner flag behind him is hanging on for dear life at the moment. And it's a surprise that no one's decided to take a short one yet. Doesn't look like we're going to get that here either. Bit of chaos on the way. Bayless bends the ball in. That's a good delivery. And cleared away by the Excelsior defence. And Harry Arneson in midfield. So still a bit of time to play in the first half of the first semi-final in the Australian Championship. Greek derby to come later this afternoon between Heidelberg United and South Melbourne. And there's a bit of conjecture here on the field because Declan Woods has stopped play to allow some attention for yet another injured Excelsior star. And this one looks a little bit more menacing than the previous. And Harry Arneson, who has played every game since signing from the Oakley Cannons, is not someone they would want to lose rather.
Is this an earlier challenge?
So that to me looks all above board. Perhaps Declan Woods allowed Moreton City to continue playing, and then once there was the injury decided to drop it, and that is why Marconi were so aggrieved, because they were sizing up their chances of potential counter-attack.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was an off-the-ball incident there, but no cards being handed over or anything like that, so could have been just a collision potentially. It seemed to be a little bit of discussing between the two benches, that's for sure, and the officials.
And this was the incident. Daniel knocks the ball forward. Yeah, I don't think there was any malice or intent, but maybe just looking at safety first, because it could have been a knee injury for Arneson, and we know what a torrid time Excelsior have had with those particular issues in the injury department.
So we don't see a forced substitution here. And coaches can think about substitutions from a tactical perspective rather than a forced one and injuries. As he's rising to his feet, hopefully that's a good sign. Yeah, just like a clash of knees.
And while the court of public opinion at Marconi Stadium will...
Yeah, definitely a clash of knees there.
The court of public opinion are not particularly sympathetic for Harry Arneson. You can see why he's gone down. Not a comfortable one. So it's been a stop-start. First 45 in the championship, and Peter Sekenis has nearly run onto the field there to communicate his displeasure at that one. And it will be the first yellow card of the afternoon, going the way of Dylan Manecki. And upended Damien Sekenis.
A very critical time in the football game so far now, as we're approaching half-time. Getting a lot of stop-starts. Can get a lot... Some players can lose focus in these moments, and this is where situations where mistakes can occur. So both teams need to really stay on it in terms of their mentality throughout this period.
He's not always the most outwardly emotive manager on the sidelines, Peter Sekenis, but he certainly was that time, as Busek has read the bouncing ball and shot back nicely. Bernie, back to Busek. Can he find an angle for a cross? The answer is yes. Van der Sarg and Bayless with a little link up. Jesic misses it. Will Bayless find a shooting angle? He will, but it's a good block from Damon Anderson.
Very good defensive structure here so far from Moreton City.
Great cross from Van der Sarg. It's allowed to bounce. Here's Tyron Burney. He's not a regular scorer, but when he does score, they are very good. He caught that one pretty sweetly.
Very critical challenge there by Lockie Griffith. Fantastic.
The Stallions maybe just starting to turn the screw here in the final minutes of the first half. Burney rides one, but not a second challenge, and will get the free kick in his favour.
Still hear that wind coming through on the microphones.
Well, just to communicate how serious it actually is, the massive broadcast gantry here where the cameras and the commentary box are placed, it is literally shaking as we bring this one to air. That's how significant it is. 30-kilometre winds this afternoon. And Bayless's battle with Mother Nature begins again as it's headed onto the crossbar by a Moreton City head. Goodness me, that was close.
That was a very good delivery there from Bayless. He seems to have found his range from this side now. Last corner was very, very good, and that free kick was excellently delivered as well.
We find our opener before the first half interval. Yesic is trying his darndest, but not to be that time. And we can take the temperature of this fixture, which is heating up as the game goes on with Adrian Archuli on the sideline.
Yeah, lads. I love when you put ingredients together and you just get a combustible situation. Just as the black clouds started to descend behind the Marconi Stadium stand, the temperature, it intensified, and you can see over in that stand there is a line between both benches, and it is being crossed on a constant basis now. Peter Sekenis, I love watching him get rolled up. Last week, there was obviously a red card to Peter Papithas. He's actually not here today, which is actually quite significant for Marconi. He's a glue for their backroom staff. The Flea is up in the stand today. But the Moreton bench is quite animated as well. There's been a lot of back and forth. I'm directly opposite. I can't hear anything, thankfully, but I can see a lot of it. There's a lot of remonstrating. There's a lot of hands getting thrown around. But it's really heating up now on and off the field. And tell you what, we have an absolutely blockbuster second half ahead of us if this continues, because one goal is going to change it, but the crowd's getting into it and everyone is just excited.
Yeah, certainly this one feels like it's coming up to a boil and potentially boiling over in the second half that awaits. Thanks, Adrian. You may be able to spot Peter Papithas, or Flea as they call him here at Marconi Stadium. He's a few seats down from Tony Popovich. I haven't seen them sharing coaching ideas next to one another just yet. Who knows? Still a long day, of course. Extra time and penalties if a winner can't be decided in the 90, as the Stallions know better than any. As yet, we are no closer to deciding who will be our first ever Australian Championship finalist to take on one of Heidelberg or South Melbourne. Akio can't quite get the beating of McAnally, who is able to launch it away. And by and large, oh, that's a poor one. Akio picks it up. Well, they haven't been able to offer too much in attack as yet. You cannot knock how Moreton City, who have not kept a clean sheet this competition, have defended when they've been called upon this time.
They've defended very, very well inside the box. A lot of last-ditch tackles and interceptions. That's kept Marconi at bay so far. It's not, like you said, they haven't kept a clean sheet so far, but it's not what they're necessarily renowned for, is their defending. It's more their passing and their waves of attacks that they can create.
kept a clean sheet since the 23rd of August, and the irony is that this defensive porousness is actually not a regular feature of their game in NPL Queensland. They kept 9 clean sheets this season, only conceded 23 all year. But it is in the Australian Championship where the floodgates have opened a little. Ask Cam Miller why he thought that was. He attributes it just to the raising of levels, teams who are better at counter-attacking, finishing their chances as they look to create one here. Kojima, top of the box, loses out in the battle with Lockie Griffiths. Stabbed forward again by Excelsior.
Really good counter press there from Moreton City. They're trying to keep Marconi in their own half, as Marconi has done for a lot of the opening 20 minutes or so of this game. Just starting to get their fair share of passes. And the more they can do that, the more they can pull apart Marconi's defence and create some gaps for their clever players to play those key passes forward and get those attackers facing forward and create goal scoring opportunities. So as the game half has gone on, Moreton City has crept into the game more and more, not creating anything too much that Marconi would worry about. But as I mentioned earlier, when you're dominating a team, you've got to make sure you hit them on the scoreboard.
It's been a game for the defenders so far. Praised how Excelsior have dealt with so many threatening Stallion situations, but particularly Anton Mlinaric and Lockie Griffiths in this Marconi backline, when they have been called upon, have snuffed out the danger even before it's happened, and that's required some alertness and agility, particularly with the likes of, or when the likes of Yankovic, Kojima, Murai are lurking in and around them.
The issue is that when the ball is getting to Murai and Kojima, it's not in the situations that they would like so far. They would like a little bit more sustained possession so they can create those pockets, and the defenders have to make some distance to make up to get that pressure on the ball.
Something to work on in the second half as the halftime whistle goes at Marconi Stadium. And we are still awaiting any evidence as to who the championship's first finalist will be. After 45 minutes at Marconi Stadium, it's Marconi Stallions 0, Moreton City Excelsior 0. Half-time in the semi-finals of the Australian Championship. Game 1, it's still all to play for between Moreton City Excelsior and the Marconi Stallions. So much to be decided in what was a terse and tense first half. And there wasn't much to split the two sides, David Perkovich, but there were little half moments here and there.
Yeah, it was a tale of two defences doing really, really well. Marconi's press was very impressive, especially early in the game. But then, obviously, Moreton City's defensive structure and their ability to defend the box was the highlight so far. But looking forward to seeing what the second half brings.
That was the kind of chances that the Stallions were mostly limited to. Longer range sighters, half moments here and there. Moreton City, while they did allow opportunities, did well to defend most of what came their way.
Yeah, they defended the box really well. The delivery for Marconi got better and better as the half wore on.
Still getting their eye in. There will be work for Moreton City Excelsior to do because chances few and far between for them. The likes of Griffiths and Anton Mlinaric in the centre of defence have really done their job. The set pieces have been interesting in the wind as well. James Bayliss caught that one really well. The header off the crossbar from the Moreton City defence was the closest Marconi came. And you can see that control that the Stallions have had, Perko, reflected in the half-time stats. 9 shots to nil in favour of the Stallions. That needs to change for Cam Miller's men.
Yeah, Cam Miller wouldn't be happy with how much sustained possession that they had in the opposition half.
And this is what awaits the winner today. The potential of South Melbourne or Heidelberg United. The Greek Derby semi-final is to come on SBS after this one. A super Saturday of football across New South Wales and Victoria, but the battle still going on here, and we're going to get an insight into it with a Stallion star in Jake True, who is with Adrian Archuli now.
Yeah, I pulled Jakey True from the warm-up, so I just thought I'd get a few words. Jakey, what did you make of that first half, mate?
Yeah, it's always the way in the finals, nice and cagey. It was a big battle in there, so hopefully we can get on top of him in the second half.
You've had a great view on the bench there. It's been quite heated. You expect another red? You guys have got 2 the last few weeks from your assistants. You tell them to calm down a bit?
Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah, we got to stay disciplined, and because if we get through, it's a big game next week, so we need all our staff and our players.
And just talk us, you hope to make an impact in this second half?
Yeah, hopefully get on early in the second half and see what I can do.
Well, let's just see who the first finalist will be, because we've got South Melbourne and Heidelberg coming up, and that's where Bash and Josh Parrish are.
Thanks, Adrian. Excitement is building at Lakeside for the 4th meeting between South Melbourne and Heidelberg this season, the 124th overall. They've been playing each other in Greek derbies since 1964. Bash, what does South Melbourne versus Heidelberg evoke to you?
Oh, it's just pure passion, the Hellenic derby. I think South have got their swagger back too, Josh, which is the most important thing in the back half of the NPL season, winning the Doherty Cup. Sinisa Kohazic has done a great job with the squad. Heidelberg have been the pace setters, the benchmark of NPL in Australia. So I'm looking forward to a tremendous contest.
Heidelberg's streak of playing in every available fixture to them is just about unprecedented. Their 47th game of the year. Does the streak continue for you today? They make it to their 3rd final of the year?
I think they can. I think it's going to be really close. It just depends on a few issues. I think out wide, Heidelberg are probably a little bit more potent than South Melbourne. South Melbourne's midfield has been really impressive. 7 new recruits for the championship. So they've integrated some really good talent in from the A-League and other NPL clubs. So, I reckon it's a flip of the coin myself.
Well, we know Max Mikkel will be launching the long throws, so Heidelberg will have to prepare for that. We'll go back to you. Second half of Marconi Stallions and Moreton City Excelsior on the way.
When I became a father, it changed everything. The true love. Watching my son play or him come to my games and spend time with me is amazing. Try to have an open conversation with them and give the confidence to them to speak with us. That, for me, is very important. The game changed a lot. It's not like before. Be open, share, don't be afraid to talk. That, for me, is the more important thing. If watching football is your father and son tradition, then make having open conversation part of that tradition.
That's a great story and a great message from Bruno Fornaroli, a man who, but for a few twists of fate, could have been playing at Marconi Stadium today, but instead it is Marconi Stallions and Moreton City Excelsior going head-to-head in the first semi-final of the Australian Championship. And after 45 minutes of football, we are no closer to finding out which team will be the first finalist on December 6th. Marconi have had the control, have had the better of the chances. The undermanned Moreton City have been on the back foot, but we know how much drama, how many surprises Excelsior have already been able to spring in this competition. This one, David Perkovic, as the second half is about to get underway, remains anyone's game at Bosley Park.
Yeah, looking forward to the second half and what it will bring. As the game wears on, I expect it to be hopefully a little bit more open and we can see some more football, attacking football from both teams, but with a final place on the line, understandably so, being a little bit cagey and just testing the waters of the opposition throughout the first half. See how they each other set up. Now they've rethought the process at half time. Be interesting to see if there's any slight tactical changes from both coaches on their teams in the second half, or what they've witnessed against their own team in the first half. There's going to be little tweaks to take advantage of the opposition, but potentially substitutions that can make an impact on the game.
And not that any Marconi Stallions fan will need reminding, but extra time and penalties if they can't be split in the next 45 minutes. A big half to come on Super Saturday in SBS, on SBS in Sydney. And after this, we will be heading down to Melbourne for the Greek derby between South Melbourne and Heidelberg. One of those will play the final. Who is going to join them? Let's find out. And it is another one of these long launch kickoffs that have started to make their way into trend, Perko.
Yeah, I can't think of anything worse as a defender is dealing with a high ball strong kickoff. But varying success so far for teams that implore that opportunity.
And the wind that did whip its way around Marconi Stadium in the first half is still with us in the second, blowing across the field, so towards the broadcast side, and saw Moreton City just get a nice early reminder of that there. So Anderson glances on to Yankovic. Good news for Moreton City, as they have been a brilliant second half team this season. They've done most of their goal scoring after the interval. 61 of their 101 goals this year have come in second halves, and 12 of their 18 in the championship, so they leave their runs late. And you just get the sense, Perko, because of the conditions these students have played, once they get 70 minutes in 32-degree heat, things are going to get a little bit stretched. Things will open up, and that makes that next period before the legs start to get tired really important.
Yeah, and for the coaches, substitutions. How to make an impact off the bench with your substitutions or tactical tweaks to take advantage of the opposition. But as we can see here, Moreton City doing their short passing combinations to try and create some space elsewhere. So try to make 10 or more plus passes in consecutive form to try and then open up the defensive structure of Marconi Stallions, and they're doing really, really well here in this phase of play. And as I said that, commentator's curse.
Comes for us all eventually. It's a yellow card going against James Murphy.
Just a little bit of under hit pass there.
And the foul conceded in his desperation to keep the ball alive. So 2 members of Cam Miller's back 4 in Declan Wood's pocketbook now. Dylan Manecki the other. Back 5 would be probably a more accurate descriptor. Although over the course of this championship campaign, they have shown their propensity, Moreton City, to chop and change their shape. Marconi have made it very difficult for them so far. That's a wonderful ball. Sekenis was there. Foster able to gather. That was agile and intelligent keeping from the former Marconi deputy.
Really good opportunity there for Marconi. Getting in behind the really good backline that we've seen so far from Moreton City. They haven't been able to get in behind Moreton City centrally until that moment. Sekenis just couldn't get enough on it. And this is exactly what I would expect from Peter Sekenis under these conditions. Just try to keep that ball in the opposition half, whether that being direct or playing through football through the thirds. But under these conditions, a little bit more direct, set up on these defensive set plays to be aggressive, turnover of possession, and build their attacks from there.
Between these two sides this year, Marconi, when they've scored first in games, have only lost once all year after taking the lead. Moreton City yet to lose this year when they score first, so they will have to at some point be an opening goal scorer in this game unless we go to penalties, and the numbers tell you that it's an oh so important one. Here comes Murphy. The 2 number 2s going toe to toe.
Really good switch of play there from Moreton City. Not sure if Murphy should have taken on Bernie in that situation, as he didn't have much support moving forwards. But he was able to win the throw-in, and now an opportunity for Moreton City to try and get some sustained possession in Marconi's half.
It's not an easy customer to come up against, Tyrone Bernie. Whether you are a fullback or a winger, covers so much ground, so much speed. Marconi's reigning Player of the Year. A brilliant first season since signing from Blacktown. That's the kind of class we know Seita Murai is capable of. He has been, thus far, the 25-year-old, limited to little pockets, little flashes. Is there a way that they can get a bit more of him on the ball, Moreton City?
The best way to get those players in the game and dangerous is that more controlled, sustained possession, and that frustrates the opposition. So then the defensive structures come a little bit more separate, and then they have a little bit more pockets of space where they can receive the ball facing forward and they can create moments.
They've won it in a good position here, and Jankovic has gotten the beating of Anton Mlinaric for one of the first times this afternoon, and a yellow card swiftly following for the man they call the Warden at Marconi Stadium. Very good with nicknames here. Peter Papothis, their assistant, is Flea. Got the Warden. Something for everyone. James Hilton is the Doctor as well, although he is actually on course to be a doctor. Medical degree. That's clever work that time from Jankovic. He turned really nicely into that challenge.
Yeah, it was very, very good play there from Jankovic. This free kick sets up a attacking set piece from Moreton City. Let's see if it's got anything interesting up their sleeves, but the wind will make it interesting, that's for sure.
So Sayers goes short.
Yeah, not a bad option. With this wind, the ball being held up, a lot of set pieces have been wasted. But the key is, can they sustain it? No, they've turned it over.
And usually Will Accio is not a man you want to be turning the ball over to.
Done very well to win the ball back. Just giving up some field positioning though, in doing so.
What have you made of the 27-year-old's addition to this Marconi front line? It's been entertaining, maybe hasn't delivered as much in front of goals as perhaps he would have liked, Will Accio, but those fans in the stands have had plenty to enjoy watching him so far.
Definitely started the tournament off very, very well. As the tournament wore on, he was rested against Wolves. I'm just wondering if there's potentially something setting him back potentially physically, which is why he missed out on that game. So could be something still niggling that's causing some issues, but he's a moments player and definitely can take a moment and win a game for you.
He's been nursing an ankle knock, so that might explain that as the early ball comes in from Van der Sar. Millard snuffs it out, and that's good stuff from Murphy, even if it is slightly fortuitous to win a corner, or rather a goal kick for Moreton City.
Different setup from Moreton City for this building up with a back four here.
That's not the best goal kick from Foster. Accio was quick on the case, and so too is Bayliss at the second time of asking. That's well judged though by McAnally, filling in of course for the injured and absent captain Declan Smith. Ruptured his ACL last week against Avondale.
Very, very disappointing when you hear those injuries, long-term injuries for players. Wish him all the best in his recovery.
And most concerningly for Moreton, it is one of 8 first-team players they have unavailable at the moment. Many of them here, in fairness. Saw Declan Smith on the crutches earlier. Joe Scott. Zach Kierpal as well, one of their top scorers this season. Also victim of an ACL injury, but has been actually vlogging the championship campaign on Moreton City Excelsior stories. Talent he shares with the aforementioned William Accio. 41,000 subscribers on YouTube. There are many multi-talented athletes out there this afternoon.
Part of the issue that we're seeing here with Moreton City's build-up is that their two pivots, Sayers and Arneson, is receiving the ball in front of the Marconi front two in Sekenis and Jesic. Would like to get the back three to feed those balls in behind those back two to get those pivots in the next line of defence. And then that's when they'll draw out Marconi's pivots and really free up the attackers for Moreton City. But as they drop deeper and deeper to get on the ball, it just limits their opportunity to break through those lines.
This is not the first time today we have seen Damon Anderson down, and that one looked a little nasty from that particular angle. Just a lot of weight coming down on that leg and potentially putting pressure on the knee. And that is what they are checking at the moment. You always get a little uneasy, Perker, when you see those sorts of tests being done on a player.
Very scary.
Especially for a club who have already lost so many to serious knee injuries. Seems as though this one is going to be okay, but maybe Cam Miller is feeling a little differently. Let's take the temperature of this one on the sidelines with Adrian Archuli. Adrian, what do you make of that one?
Yeah, I'm about 3 or 4 metres from it. Let's just say there was some testy words there to Anderson about getting up as he gets some treatment literally right in front of me, and here I am sort of questioning the validity of the injury, but he's going through some rigorous testing right now. Not something that I don't want to be doing, that's for sure, because I'm planted firmly on the ground. But it's funny how you were calling Anton the warden, because he's been absolutely giving it to Will Akio about his positioning to start this second half, and there's a lot of yelling, as you can tell, from both benches. There's just, it is not much has changed from that halftime break. You're thinking, it might cool down a bit, but let's just say you've got the water on the stove and it's just bubbling away. It's bubbling away. Don't put the pasta in because it might go over. That's where we're at the moment. So I think anything can happen here in this first bit of the second half.
I'm not surprised to hear that insight on Anton Mlinaric. The warden is a more friendly bestowed term for his ability to lock down the defence, but he's not afraid to marshal his teammates. We saw him really get under the skin of young Oscar Gonzalez last week when he came on, for no reason at all, no prior history, just wanted to unnerve him. Will Akio heed his instructions here? It's a great run from Akio, chops it inside, and Jesic was there, but not connecting in quite the way he would have hoped.
Looks like we're going to get a change. Anderson succumbing to that injury.
And it just does not get any easier for Cam Miller, does it? Damon Anderson's race is run. The consolation is that in 33-year-old Chris Marr, an NPL Queensland super veteran, they have a very, very handy deputy. Although that will, I would say, Perko, prompt a bit of a reshuffle, because Anderson was playing one of those sort of wider positions, whereas Chris Marr is an out-and-out central midfielder.
Yeah, it looks like they've gone to a 4-3-3 here. They've foregone with the back five. Playing with 6 and 2 10s.
This 8th consecutive substitute appearance in this competition for Chris Marr. He's featured off the bench in every game. He's bagged a couple of quality assists as well. He's the man who's played over 200 times in the Sunshine State's NPL. The likes of the Brisbane Strikers. He's actually a member of the last Queensland team to beat top flight opposition from New South Wales on the national stage back in 2019 with the Brisbane Strikers. And they knocked out Manly United in the round of 16. So it has been a long time since Queensland got the beating of New South Wales in a top flight knockout matchup. It's a rivalry that burns brightly in other codes as much as in football terms too. And it would be a massive moment for Queensland football if they could make the final. But Marconi are making their life hard here. It's Jesic. Doesn't quite catch it. He wants a corner. Declan Woods disagrees. Great run. Fantastic ball from Mate Busek. Just bowled away. I think Jesic was maybe requesting so fervently for the corner because perhaps wasn't best pleased with the contact purchase he got on the ball, or lack thereof.
Come with the more traditional goal kick this time.
Well, if nothing else, Moreton City are keeping the Stallions on their toes from these goal kick situations, quite literally. McAnally lost that ball. Akio didn't. And here he comes. Will Accio driving at his defender. And to the top of the box, Bayless, first time. Easy catching practice in the end for Nathan Foster. Oh, that's a bad turnover. Jesic is there, couldn't retrieve. Free kick coming for the Marconi Stallions. And Harry Arneson into the book. It was a loose turnover at the top of the box. Bayless robbed him of the football on the blind side, and this is going to be a free kick of significant interest to the Stallions.
Yeah, definitely an error there in build-up for Moreton City, and they really escaped something there, but they've only half escaped it because it's created a set piece for the Stallions. You've got definitely some able candidates stepping over the ball. You've got Jesic, and looks like he's using that captain's band to authority and saying, look, this one's mine.
Yeah, I was saying, no shortage of worthy takers. Harry van der Sarg, signing from Manly, has scored a bunch of goals from outside the box. Bayless, a great technician. Sekenis, a good scorer, but it will be the Marconi super veteran Marco Jesic, it looks, to take.
Marco Jesic, definitely a big game player, so he's taken on the responsibility.
In 10 consecutive seasons, he has risen to the occasion before. Can he do it here? All eyes on Marco Jesic. Here is Marco Jesic straight into the wall. Now Van der Sarg tipped away and eventually gathered by Foster.
Very firm strike on the rebound from Van der Sarg. With Foster doing very, very well to not parry it too far in front of him so he could recollect.
He certainly got the technical quality, Harry van der Sarg, of someone who's played 61 times in the A-League with the likes of Sydney FC, Adelaide United and the Brisbane Roar. Versatile as well. Started the year as a fullback for Manly, came into the front three and has made that central midfield for Marconi his own in the Australian Championship. Griffiths. Lovely loft for Burney. He's been excellent today. Has Tyrone Burney, lifts the ball in over the head of Damien Sekenis. They're starting to craft a few more openings, finding a few more chinks in the armour of Excelsior's defence.
It's a really good delivery into the box here. And yeah, unfortunately for Marconi, movement wasn't quite good enough to get something on to the end of it. But since that forced substitution, Moreton City haven't really found the rhythm that they started to get into this game. Definitely lost it since they've changed this formation and that forced substitution. So definitely going to have to resettle and try and get some more sustained possession, because at the moment Marconi definitely getting on top, not only in football sense but territory. And just struggling at the moment, Moreton City, to really get a foothold into this second half.
Bayless, beautiful clip. Sekenis can't reach it. Here's George Daniel, another great block by Harry Arneson. Well, the Stallions are certainly starting to put the squeeze on their opponents from the Sunshine State. Jankovic. Oh, it's a tough one for Arneson. It's easy pickings for Accio. Clipped ball. Oh, the wind took it. Busek kept it alive, but only momentarily.
Can't understate how difficult it is to play under the conditions, especially when the ball is in the air. As we go to another drinks break, the temperatures still quite high, but this is a good opportunity for Moreton City just to just to settle things down a little bit, have a little bit of a break, can get a bit of coaching instruction since their change.
Of course, it's a break in this one. One final is still to be decided, and we're not far away from casting an eye to the second. Over at Lakeside Stadium, Heidelberg United and South Melbourne have rolled into the venue for the second semi-final of the afternoon. A Greek derby in Victoria. Two NSL giants going toe-to-toe. And this should be a massive one at 3:30 from Lakeside Stadium, Perko.
Yeah, really looking forward to that game. Two giants of Victorian football coming against each other. Obviously got a bit of history this season as well. Really looking forward to this game on the conclusion of this one.
What was interesting about those player arrivals is that South Melbourne players were strolling in. A few Heidelberg players were running. I don't know if they were in danger of the curfew times there, as we see that earlier chance for Mate Busek. That just shows you how difficult the wind is making life for these attackers this afternoon.
Had some interesting weather over these Oz Championships, windy days, especially at Lakeside, renowned for that kind of conditions. It's been brought down to Bosley Park today. I think the players are doing a really good job so far, trying to navigate through it.
There's been rain, wind, driving heats. Usually not all at once, but today we have had all three. There was a little sprinkle just out of the second half break, as well, despite the scoreline, Moreton City strengthened their grip on the who do you think will win poll. You can scan the QR code on screen to have your vote, but I think the Walter Park Army, of course the Excelsior watch party at their home ground, have seized upon that one, regardless of what the scoreline ends up being.
Good turnover of possession there.
One back well by Excelsior. Kojima.
Marconi, excellent counter press.
Yeah, it was a fantastic response. Sekenis starts the eyes up. Wants Jesic or Akio, finds neither. And Ma turned over. The ground gave way beneath the feet of Jankovic. And here is George Daniel. He heads for Bayless. Fast feet from the midfield. This is a brilliant run. He goes down. Declan Woods waves the arms. He says there is nothing in that one.
Definitely had a good view of that. Didn't see any challenge there whatsoever. Well defended. Didn't lunge in. Stayed on his feet. I think Bayless either had a little bit of a slip or tried to saw that he was running out of real estate.
Looking here at the same replay that the Marconi coaches are furiously studying right now.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of space in between the 2 feet there.
And no challenge on the way. Peter Sekenis satisfied that that one all above board. But when you've got the option of making the challenge, you know, you'll have a look. Of course you'll have a look. He's got to review it. Both teams have got the monitors on the sidelines, helping them to make the calls if they need to. And now it's a yellow card for Cam Miller, it looks like. Bit of,
not sure what that was about.
Energetic back chat perhaps to the fourth official, maybe the fifth official. Of course, we've got two on the sidelines now with the FVS system in place.
Been impressed with Moreton City's resilience. Obviously away from home, not renowned for their
brilliant win back from Jankovic. Fantastic work. Back to Murai. Jankovic again, opening up the angle. Jankovic, oh, it's spilled by Hilton. Murai, double save from Hilton. The offside flag was up against the Japanese attacker, but that was the best chance of the day by a mile for Moreton City.
I was just saying I've been impressed with their ability to defend really well, which they haven't been able to in this competition so far. They've been scrapping really well, and on the back of that, it keeps him in the game, and then a moment like that could absolutely open this game up.
And well, they have had attacking chances few and far between. Luka Jankovic has gone after those loose balls like a man possessed. Dare I say it, Perko, he is playing like the kind of man who knows that he could potentially face his brother in a final. As Akio swings that one in. Easy pickings for Nathan Foster.
I don't know if you noticed that strike against Hilton. It just moved in the air with the wind. Hilton had to do well to... He made a really good decision not to try and catch it, but to parry it away.
Jankovic, of course, the younger brother of South Melbourne captain Marco. Declan Woods has got a bit more sorting out to do in the middle of the park. It's been quite the acquisition. Luka Jankovic from St George Willawong for the championship. 3 goals, all of them off the bench so far. 2/3 of those against New South Wales opposition as well. Home and away against Sydney Olympic. Chris Ma happy to take that one short. Maneki is the latest to be on the receiving end of some firm and, in the eyes of Declan Woods, unfair challenges from Marconi.
Hit a bit too firmly. Marconi gets the opposition to get the ball after an unforced error. And their opportunity to string a few passes together to build some sustained possession for themselves. Good press here from Moreton City, forces it long.
16 minutes left to play of the regulation in the first semi-final of the Australian Championship. This one is getting increasingly onto the knife's edge. Arneson, Sayers. It's not his best ball. A midfielder, Bernie, snuffs it out with conviction and comfort.
Just didn't have enough width there, Murphy, on approach to that ball. So he was running towards the sideline to get it, where he should have arced his run from the sideline and attacked the ball. But they do get the throw in. Starting to get a foothold in this game again since that drinks break. Definitely feel more settled.
And this might be a bit of space to work with for William Akio. He's turned on the Jets. A massive moment in the semi. It's William Akio. Can't get the shot away. Can Sekenis? No! And it's cleared nearly on the line. That is a sensational sequence.
Wow.
And somehow the ball is not in the back of the net for Marconi.
But they still have the ball. They still have a moment here.
Swung in by Van der Sar. It caught the wind. It couldn't catch the head of Sekenis. It did of the defender, and Foster tips it around the post. And he will be none the wiser as to how his net wasn't bulged.
What a golden opportunity there for Marconi Stallions to take the lead in this game. But they still have another opportunity. Here we go with the replay.
So Sekenis takes a touch. He swings and misses on the first. McAnally was trying to drag it back. That was the reaction at Walter Park. They were as nervous as their team.
Looks like something's happened before the corner has been delivered while we're watching the replay. We've got a Moreton City
midfielder Harry Arneson.
It's on the deck. Not quite sure what happened there. Interesting to see if any cards will be issued.
And is that,
have a look at
that chance there? Maybe just the sign of a goal scorer who's maybe lacking a bit of confidence at the moment, gone a few games without a goal, because in that situation when he takes the touch around the keeper, you expect Sekenis to bury that.
Yeah, but even Akio, one-on-one, he should have really buried the opportunity before Sekenes even came into play. Like I said, it's a really golden opportunity for Marconi for both those opportunities. First one was missed, and the second one was missed. And Moreton City stay alive.
Feels like we're getting closer and closer to the opener here. Bayless's ball in. Sekenes reaches it, lacking accuracy with the header. And Moreton City see off another Stallion set piece.
Pressure really building on Marconi after that. Being the home side in this semi-final, Moreton City coming here with a almost like a nothing to lose mentality.
Marconi hoping to reach their first national final in 29 years. Been part of a big dance under Australia's eyes since the 1996 NSL Grand Final. They went down in defeat to the Melbourne Knights.
The only concern I have here for Moreton City is now that they've gone to this back four, often enough Marconi play with a 4-2-4, which means it's man v man at the back. And then obviously all it takes is a defender making a mistake or a moment where an attacker, Marconi attacker taking on a defender, and then you've got numerical advantage in the final third. So it's probably where the issue came from with that golden opportunity that was missed from Marconi. Moreton City will want to be wary of that to make sure that those situations are limited for the home side.
There's not a lot of time left of regulation for these two to play with. Marconi bore the brunt of late drama last week. Can they create it today? Good sliding challenge from Dylan Manecki. Has to get those right. He's one of a number on a card for Moreton. Akio. Daniel to Jesic. And a Starg. Can the Stallions put the squeeze on their opponents? It'll sit up for Bernie to drive it in. Busek! Breakthrough in the semi-final. And Mate Busek, who was the super sub last week, is now a super starter. And it could well be a goal that sends the Marconi Stallions to the Australian Championship final. Busek on the board. Marconi 1-0 against Excelsior.
As we talked about in the first half, Marconi having success in those wide areas. This time, a lovely ball into the box from Bernie and a fantastic finish from Busek in that near post. I believe his run went beyond the near post, which makes that technically really difficult to get it on target, and he's done wonderfully well. Sets up Marconi here. It was a goal that they were looking for. It's a goal that sets them up to finish this game on top.
Mate Busek. Peter Sekenes put his faith in the 21-year-old winger to replace Franco Meyer in the starting side today. And he has repaid that faith and then some. A 7th goal in all competitions this season for Mate Busek. And now the Stallions are 10 minutes plus stoppage away from a return to the big dance. And they've added some fresh faces too. Noah Anderson has come on for Will Akio. And changes on the way for Moreton City too. Lockie Sayers has departed the field of play. Replacing him, 17-year-old Darcy Satharasinga, who we saw make his Australian Championship debut last week for Moreton City, the junior product. And talk about incredible commitment to this competition, Perko, stretching on past the regular season. 17-year-old Satharasinga was at Schoolies this week. He was at Schoolies and came home from that trip early after finishing year 12 to come and play today.
What a wonderful story. But even more wonderful for him if he can make an impact into this game. Saw another change with Akio coming off as well. And Young Anderson coming on in his place. Busek switching sides, coming onto the left-hand side of Marconi's attack, and Anderson taking up that right winger position. Anderson's been impressive in this tournament so far.
Anderson, of course, was the youngest scorer on the championship back in round 2, which is a bit of an incident on the sideline that will need sorting out. But play will continue for the moment. He was the youngest scorer until Oscar Gonzalez scored in back-to-back weeks as a 16-year-old to leapfrog him, but Anderson has been one of the stories of this championship. And you would fancy that a second goal in this game will put this semi-final to bed. Can Busek, the scorer, turn provider? It's a flat ball, it's flicked on at the near post, but not towards goal. Still alive for Mate Busek. He went for it as well. Oh, that would have been something special from Mate Busek. He's got wonderful technique when he looks to get power and placement behind the ball. Not to be that time, but it was dipping.
Obviously from that angle, a very, very difficult technically to put that on target. But hoping to catch Foster unaware that he was going to be that ambitious. Just going over the crossbar there. Now it'll be interesting to see how Moreton react to this goal from Marconi. Whether they'll be a little bit more courageous, a little bit more ambitious.
If we have learnt anything about Moreton City Excelsior in this championship campaign, it is that they are not a side who go down without trying. If at all, they have only failed to score one time in their previous 7, and that was against South Melbourne all the way back in round 2. But Marconi do not usually cough up these sorts of situations. They did, of course, last week in the 98th minute, but only one loss after scoring first all year.
They really need to try and be front foot in defending if they want to get back into this game. They've just got over 5 minutes of normal time before injury time, and they want to try and get a few chances to test Hilton before the end of the game.
And it's one of those nightmare situations if you're a coach, because you're a goal down against a very good defensive side and you haven't got as many of those cards because of the injuries that you would like to play off the bench. Real rock and a hard place for Cam Miller, this one.
Definitely know what that feels like, but can't think about that for now. You could just only think of the job at hand. How can they find a way to create a goal scoring opportunity or two to get yourself a chance to get back into this game?
The Stallions are really growing in confidence now. Jesic can't combine with Anderson. Bayless picks up the pieces initially, and Bernie's touch was clever to get around Kojima. Doesn't get the beating of Millard. He's able to pick up a set piece.
Marconi, one of the best teams to just really close down the game. A lot of their games in NPL, when they're winning 1-0, they just have the ability to kill it off.
In fact, it'll be a Stallions throw after all that. Now Moreton City will get the ball. But yeah, I think that 5-0 loss to Wollongong Wolves does perhaps, or did perhaps, obfuscate just how solid a side Marconi are defensively. If you ignore that game, and it is a big ignorance in fairness, but only conceded 3 goals elsewhere in the tournament. And they were this year the best defensive side in NPL New South Wales. Conceded 5 just the once against NWS Spirits. One to chase for Damien Sekenis. The Stallions searching for insurance in the dying embers. Sekenis. It'll sit for Anderson. Headed to the top of the box. It's Bayless. It's not quite caught. And the tension still hangs over this one. Let's take the temperature on the sideline with Adrian Archuli.
Yeah, lads, that was just the classic football term of it was coming, but that was definitely well-deserved for Marconi. They've been all over Moreton City, and Excelsior does mean in Latin ever upwards, so I think that's the only way for the Queensland Premiers to go, because they've been on the back foot for the majority of this game, really only tested the Dr. Jimmy Hilton only once. So excited with the Marconi fans that one of the active supporters actually fell over the barricade. That's what that fuss was about. He seems to be okay. He was helped away by the police. Let's just hope he wasn't too injured, but that was what that was about. And yeah, it's just it's been interesting to follow this. Just I've expected more from Moreton City. I just think this is finally now starting to catch up with them. This long season, the lengthy injury toll, but only would take a Marconi error to, I think, let them back in this one. But you never know.
You nearly spoke it into existence, Adrian. You talk about a potential Marconi error. Well, Anton Mlinaric nearly did exactly that to allow Luka Jankovic in. That would have been red alert in the Marconi defence. Hopefully that Marconi fan who went over the fence is all good. I mean, we've all been there in the throes of passion celebrating a goal.
As we see Mlinaric getting some treatment. He's had an interrupted NPL season, so he might be, the minutes might be getting to him a little bit.
He was substituted out in extra time last week. He did spend over 180 days of this season out with a knee injury, but when he has been available, Marconi have been a different team. Only played 15 games with him this year, and of those 15, they have lost just one. So he's a key cog in this back line. And even if it is late, even if they do have the lead, Peter Sekenis would not want to be losing him.
Be very important for Marconi if they do progress into the final. Definitely the leader of that back line. And a rarity to find such a good centre back that is left-footed as well. You have that natural balance coming in out from the back. Having a left footer there, and he does it very, very well.
He's made himself a fan favourite swiftly in 2 seasons since arriving from the Oakley Cannons. Here come Excelsior. Can they rise ever upwards to draw level in this game? Have they got another late goal in the locker? They have been specialists at it in this competition, but not this time. Bernie just buying time. Sekenis chasing. And Foster dealt with the pressure short and safely.
Just need to speed up the ball tempo here, Moreton.
7 minutes of added time added on by Sam Kelly. It's time for Moreton City Excelsior. 7 minutes of potentially nervous waiting for the Stallions. It may well be a grandstand finish. And you're probably having a conniption if you're Peter Sekenis seeing that number come up on the board, because it was 7 minutes of stoppage last week against Apia. What happened on added time? A goal for Oscar Gonzalez, as now Riley Stent, the reserve keeper, has gone into the book.
Yeah, definitely not what Peter Sekenis would want to see with that board going up. So many minutes left in this game. Worked for him last week, and we're definitely hoping that the same doesn't happen for Moreton City today. While it's still 1, there's always an opportunity.
How intent do you go chasing for that second? You were burnt. They were burnt last week by sitting on a 1-goal lead, and while Moreton haven't offered a lot in attack, they only need one moment to potentially make this game a very different prospect.
From a Marconi's perspective, and being in injury time already, you want a balanced approach. You don't want to just give Moreton City the ball. You want to keep fighting territory, because the further the ball is away from your own goal, it's a good thing. And you want to make sure that your rest defence is set up very, very well when in possession or in the opposition half, and to Marconi's credit, they've done that outstandingly today so far.
And just looking at that earlier sequence of scrap upon scrap, which ended up with Marko Jesic on the turf, there's your answer. Both of these sides still playing this one out until the final whistle. But the onus remains on Excelsior. Can they pull more Moreton City magic out of the hats? 5 minutes left to go. Murai up and under for Jankovic. He's been really bright in this second half, ploughing a lone furrow all afternoon atop the formation. McAnally whips it in. The wind made it fairly easy that time for James Hilton, who is staring down the barrel of a 4th clean sheet in the championship. Oh, and he's fallen victim to the commentator's curse this time.
Yeah, I think that wind just picked it up a notch in the last few minutes. As he dropped that ball to kick it, just kind of changed his trajectory a little bit and came off the foot wrong.
Nice footwork for from Sir Kenneth. Marconi trusting themselves just to chew up time by knocking it around, but this time they turn it over. Jankovic goes down. No whistle arrives. Sathara Singh, a lovely switch of play. Saita Murai released. Marconi scrambling back. It's Murai, beautiful fake. Still Saita Murai. Arneson was there. No shot arrives. And now it's just locked in the legs of the midfielder. He goes down. It was right on the line. Declan Woods denies the penalty, appeals again. But this time he will give a free kick. And another substitute will make their way onto the field for Moreton City. In fact, it'll be 2 substitutes for the side from the Sunshine States.
As we saw this attack, it's just the tail end of it, but yeah, didn't look to, I don't think it was a penalty or a free kick there. Referee did well there, but that chance where Murai was coming in off the right side, I was hoping to see a Moreton City attacking run into that near post just to disrupt that, take the attention off the defence. Never came. Didn't give him a target to look for. Made it more difficult for Murai.
That long throw is flicked out of play. Marconi Stallions are nearly there. 2 minutes to go in stoppage time. Cam Miller has played some of his final cards off the bench, and this is where the depth is starting to be tested. Jamie Waddington, a product of the Excelsior Junior Academy, 14 years at the club. He's come on, and it's a special moment for Australian Championship debutant Jackson Ballantyne at just 16 years of age onto the field. It's great to see the youth has been entrusted throughout this competition. Millard back to Foster. That's not what was required from Foster. Here comes Noah Anderson. Still going, the 17-year-old. Fired cross, blazed away. As the last minute approaches.
Moreton City have to go up the field at about 60, 70 metres, and they've got to get the ball back first.
Sir Kenneth flicks it to Jesic. Is this his moment? Could it be? Noah Anderson just can't connect with the strike as purely as he would have liked. Excelsior live to fight another day, maybe another second. Is this the end of a nearly 30-year wait for the Stallions' shot at silverware on the national stage? Jankovic. Great defending by Griffiths. McAnally, seconds left. in this semi-final. Marconi with 1 foot in the championship game. One last push for Moreton. Kojima's cross, Sathara Singer was there, cleared by Griffiths. Yesic controls and launches in the path of Sekenis, who will happily watch that out of play.
I'm sure Peter's heart was in his mouth as that ball came into the box. It's reflashing last week's moment for Apia.
The whistles are ringing around Marconi Stadium. The crowd get their award. Book your tickets. The Marconi Stallions are back in the big time. And the first side into the big dance. This NSL Giants, this 4-time national champion, roll in to a new national final in a new era. And Mate Busek is the hero, the full-time scorer. Marconi Stallions 1, Moreton City Excelsior 0. Well, whether they are fans of young, fans of old, at Bossley Park, they have waited a long time for a moment like this. This team who have held their time, waiting for a moment like this, have taken the opportunity with both hands in what was a very controlled performance today in their home deck.
Very professional performance from Peter Sekenis' man. Didn't allow Moreton City much opportunities to score and took the goal that they needed to take them to the final. They will
finally get their first shots at national silverware since 1996. They haven't been victorious in a grand final since a few years earlier than that, but they will get the chance to change that on Saturday, December 6th, thanks to the man of the moment, Mate Busek. He's now with Adrian Archuli.
Mate, how does it feel, mate? 2 in a row, and then to get the winner today. Just talk us about how you're feeling.
I'm buzzing. You know, we dominated, I reckon, the game. I felt, and I knew it was going to come, and I'm glad it came out to the end. And then, you know, we had to keep defending so they didn't get that last one. It was last week we considered last minute one, and this time we made sure that's not going to happen. So, feeling good. You know, credit to the boys. You know, we had a hard week last week, playing 120 minutes. You know, it wasn't easy the week up. You know, we were taking a lot and knowing what we had to do, but we came out today and we killed it. So, credit to the boys and happy.
Just talk us through the finish as well. It was quite a challenging one, even with this win today. It was wreaking havoc.
Yeah, it was. And I saw it coming. It was a bit windy and it was coming. I'm like, do I go forward, back? So I kind of stayed where I was, and I saw it bounce right in front of me. So I tried to half volleyed it. I was like, perfect. And I looked at it go in. I was like, oh, that was the one.
Yeah, through to a final, mate. Just talk us about how does it feel, mate?
Oh, no, it feels good. You know, this is a massive tournament, and we knew from day one if we keep playing the way we played this year, we're going to be up there. And now next week final, and next job is to win it, and that's what we're going to do. So, looking forward to it.
Well, this man loves the goal in the knockout stages. Now he awaits who will be the team they face in the final. He's already through. He knows where he'll be playing next weekend.
What a performance this afternoon from Mate Busek. Given the starting nod, Perko, after scoring off the bench last week, and he take the opportunity with both hands. It was such a great finish on the tight angle.
Technically, it was a fantastic goal. His run took him beyond the near post. To get it on target was fantastic.
Well, Mate Busek is the man who sends them through to the final, but the mastermind behind it all is Stallions head coach Peter Sekenis. Let's hear from him now.
Peter, I think I'll just go straight to the chase. How does it feel to be through a final? It's been quite a journey, and now you're almost there, one win away from what would be a massive statement.
Yeah, it's new, isn't it? It's never been done before. So, look, we love playing finals football. We play for medals. We play for reputations as players. So now to, look forward to a final of the championship is, fantastic for all concerned.
The performance today, it was really a dominant performance. Really, Moreton City really rarely troubled Jimmy Hilton in the goals. How pleasing is that as a coach? Given, go back 2 weeks and you're almost a centimetre away from being knocked out and living in infamy with a 6-0 loss, and now you're here on the cusp of the walking out on a final.
Are we going to keep talking about that?
No. Last time, I promise.
Okay. No, look. We know Moreton like to play. They like to keep possession, but today, they're up against it. From go to woe. I thought we were fantastic. We nullified them. We actually dictated terms the whole game. We created some really good chances. Credit to them, they stayed in the game to give them a chance. The conditions were really tough out there, as you can see. So look, I'm proud of the boys. We'll recover now, and then look forward to the big one.
Just talks about how do you approach this week? Do you take it lightly, or it's been such a long season? Just talks about your mindset going into this.
No, consistency, keeping the same. You know, we're not backing off. You know, I'm a bit concerned today about the heat and the 120 minutes last week, but we maintained what we do, keep it, you know, normal, and that's what worked for us. So there'll be no changes. We'll just make sure the bodies are right, and then we'll work into the week.
I'm sure they'll be jumping into Club Marconi to go watch the second semi-final and finding out who their opponent's going to be.
It's another feather in the cap for Peter Sekenis, whose legend only grows with a final spot in the Australian Championship. Easy to forget that when he arrived at Bosley Park, this was a team in the second tier back in 2017. He led them back to the top, has taken them to silverware in the NPL. Now, he has masterminded a championship campaign that has the Stallions, this storied side, back within 90 minutes of national silverware. Unfortunately, it's a different story for today's other coach. It comes to an end for Moreton City, this Cinderella story. Let's take in the full-time review with their head coach, Cam Miller.
Cam, commiserations, but what a great season. So close again. I thought you were going to get another late equaliser, but just talk us through the performance today.
Yeah, performance missed the mark today, I think. It was really tough for us. Look, conditions didn't help our style of football, played into their hands a bit. We're playing at Marconi. That was difficult as well. But excuses aside, you know, they deserved that today. They were played with more energy, more aggression. They got the moment and they took the chance. We had a couple of good half chances, didn't come off for us. That's football, unfortunately. We didn't get the semi-final we were planning for. It's the way it goes. Great tournament, though, like you said.
It just talks about the challenges of adapting to those conditions, because you guys like to play that beautiful football on the ground. How hard is it to almost change your game plan? Because this is very unusual. This is a you know, extreme wins.
Yeah, and not just try and adapt the style of football, but adapt the players in there, because we're missing so many of them in there. So when we're asking them to change the style slightly, it's so difficult because, you know, they're not used to playing next to each other, some of those players. To be honest, I'm really proud of my players. We didn't stop trying, you know. And yes, it was extremely difficult today. But what I will say is Marconi made it difficult for us. I think they got their game plan spot on, and they made it tough for us today. And credit to them, they deserve to win that game.
Moreton City head home back to Queensland, but with their heads held high, what a great season it's been for them.
Classy in defeat, Cam Miller. They will depart, but with their heads held high. But as we look back on the chances from this game, David Perkovich, they just didn't muster enough chances, and Marconi did.
Yeah, as Cam mentioned, conditions were really, really tough. Thought it would play into Marconi's hands a little bit. And having the home ground advantage, could just see Moreton struggle to play the football that they normally do. But Marconi were relentless in their defensive press and did enough to create an opportunity that puts them into the final.
They certainly did. This was the moment that made all the difference. A wonderful ball from Bernie, and the finish from Mate Bulsak even better.
As I mentioned, when this ball came out wide, they've had a bit of success in those wide areas. There was a really good ball in by Bernie, but the technique to get that on target from Bulsak was incredible. Fantastic goal.
That's what it means to the Stallion supporters. Marconi, the first team into the Australian Championship final. The question is, who is going to join them? A big second semi-final to come. And if it is disappointment for the boys from Bosley Park, but all eyes now to Lakeside Stadium, where Heidelberg United will take on South Melbourne in a big second semi-final to come.